Hi, I'm Pamela Schultz with Visual Data Tools. I hope that you had a great summer. I know I was able to spend a little bit of time at my favorite beach in Narragansett, Rhode Island, which is behind me. But today I'm here to tell you about some new features in DataGraph version 5.4. I'm going to talk specifically about 3 different aspects of the program that we've improved: the data table, style settings, and also some command improvements that you asked for. At the end of this video, I'm going to show you a handy new keyboard shortcut. DataGraph is an application for graphing and data analysis for macOS. Links telling you how to purchase or update the program are in the description of this video. First, I'll talk about changes to the data table, and if you are visually challenged like I am, you'll appreciate these updates. Now you can zoom in and out of the data table. If you have a touchpad, or you can use a keyboard combo, go to View, Zoom Table for the details. Also, now when you have a long text entry that you want to view or edit, when you enter that box, it will expand to a larger text to show you everything that's there. Let's compare the DataGraph approach to a typical spreadsheet. Both tools will zoom in on the data and zoom out, but when you are zoomed out in DataGraph and then you double-click on a text box, the box that appears is at an increased font size so you can see the data better where it lives. Another very handy feature of being able to zoom out of the data is to get a bird's eye view of a data set. For example, in this list of Nobel Prize winners, we can see by zooming out that there's a section of the data that appears to be missing. Trying the same thing in our spreadsheet, we found that it was really easy to overshoot the mark and actually zoom beyond the data, but also it was a lot less obvious to find gaps in the data. And that's because they automatically allow text that is wider than a cell to expand into adjacent cells. Since DataGraph does not allow data from one column to bleed into another column, we can more easily identify those gaps and then zoom in to see what the cause is. In the case of the Nobel Prize datasets, this column is where an affiliation would be listed. People who received a Nobel Peace Prize or the prize in literature typically didn't have an affiliation, and that's why this was empty. Now let's talk about the style settings, because if you're someone who prefers a modern, minimalistic approach to styling your graph, then I think you're going to appreciate how we've made it easier to make this type of graphic. The style settings are where you can set your fonts and your colors, but if you expand the settings, you'll also see options for the box style, the grid lines, and the tick marks. Let's focus for a moment on the box style. The default box style in DataGraph is set to axis box. That means there's a single outline around the XY coordinate system. If you have a split axis, then each individual axis will have its own outline. There are several other options in DataGraph that you've had for a while. One is one box, only axis, or you can also use an offset axis. Now in DataGraph 5.4, you can simply set the box style to none, which creates a modern-looking minimalistic graph. We've also updated the context menu to give you better access to these style settings. So when you right-click on your graph or control-click, you will see a menu that gives you access to the box style, grid lines options, tick mark options. So if you want to go ahead and try the new box style of none, you can quickly do that. Or if you decide you want to remove tick marks and instead use grid lines, you can do that from this menu. But if at any time you want all of the options available, go back into the style settings and you can make changes here, such as changing your grid lines to solid and changing the color and customizing the grid lines. Now let's talk about command improvements. We don't have any new commands in DataGraph 5.4, but we have made a number of user-requested improvements to give you more control over what your graphs look like. If you open the updated dendrogram template that we've added into the example files, you may notice that the connect command, which is drawing these graphics, now has a custom icon where the colors and also the shape of the icon itself, the lines that are drawn, will change as you select different colors and line styles. Next, let me tell you what we changed in the box command, because the box command does box and whisker diagrams, but also allows you to draw the underlying points within a group of data. You can create graphics like this that overlay the points with the box and whisker, and that looks great for a small set of data. But what we found, and what you found, was that if you had a lot of data, the points option would overlap the range of the box and whisker diagrams. Now, if you do this in DataGraph 5.4, we have added the option to control the width so that you won't have that problem with the points extending beyond the range of the box and whisker diagrams. And viewing the underlying data really is so important for understanding what the data looks like and being able to see the structure of the data itself. You can also use the points option on its own, create groups of points. You can even customize the colors or create color schemes. Here's a quick rundown of some other changes. If you use the lines command to draw reference lines, we've made it easier to draw a single label attached to that line. For the fit command, we've added the option to show and compute the Pearson correlation coefficient for linear fits. Also, for the scalar field, we've made a number of optimizations to make sure that these are rendered quickly and look beautiful. Now we're coming to the end of the video, and I told you I would introduce you to a new keyboard shortcut that we've added. And the keyboard shortcut is Command K. And when you click this, it will collapse the objects that are in whatever view you have focus on. So if you're in the side panel where the data objects are listed, it will collapse all of those objects. If you're over in your command list for a particular graph, it will collapse all of those objects. And I know I find that keeping the objects collapsed helps me when I have a lot of things going on to be able to more easier navigate my list of items. Thanks for watching. If you appreciate DataGraph and the updates and improvements that we've made, then please like the video, subscribe to our channel. We did this video for you so that our users would be able to keep up with what we've done and make the most of DataGraph. And if you have any other comments or thoughts on this version or other things you'd like to see, feel free to put them in the comments of this video. Or you can participate in the community.visualdatatools.com. If you go under the Help menu within DataGraph, you'll find a link there to request an account. You can also email us, help@visualdatatools.com. You'll find links for that and more in the description of this video. And I'm going to go back to the beach.